congratulations. Y'all are your nominees for your party. Unfortunately, it said Mr. Hagenbook is not here, so you'll just have to guess what he says. So I've got some questions. Some of them are going to be more specific policy related. Some of it's really just to get to know you, because that's what we were asked to do. And so let me just do this first. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and if you'll share a little bit about your background. You start here.
Sure. Is there time limit?
Yeah, I'll cut you off. It's pretty quick. We don't need to do it long.
A minute or 2 minutes?
A minute and a half.
Okay. All right, a minute and a half. All right. So, how you guys doing? My name is Dale Frey, and I'm running to be your next Texas State Senator for District 30. It's a big, massive area, especially across 11 counties. So, I do a lot of driving. But to tell you about myself, my wife and I moved back down here to Texas to be with our father back when he had stage 3 cancer, which segues into one of the many reasons I'm running for office, because I have a soft spot in my heart for trying to fix our broken healthcare system. One of the first warning signs I got to see how bad things are down here in Texas was meeting a friend of mine, a woman named Kennette, who owns her own LLC, who is a healthcare provider, particularly for assisted living, and she's ranting to you for a cup of coffee now how she needs to drop her Medicaid recipients because she says the money's just not there anymore. She says the rates from Health and Human Services have not been adjusted since long before the pandemic, and inflation's killing her in the sector. This is really frustrating because we're not part of the Medicaid expansion program. Medicaid expansion program, we're the few states.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off just because I don't want to run out of time. I'll give you a chance to talk about this later. But just tell us a bit more about yourself. I know you're part of that, but I'm going to just try to keep this going in conversation. Okay. So, look, any more about you? Where you work? Where you live? Family?
Oh yeah.
Just kind of so we can.
All right, I'll keep it real general. Yeah. So I'm a web developer. I make websites for the government. I want to advocate for our healthcare system. I want to support our public schools. I want to stand against the school choice program. I think we'll talk probably more about that. I'll explain why. I moved down here to Texas with my wife, who's originally from here. She's like third generation Texan, and I basically moved down here to be with her because I love my family. So that's what I am.
Thank you. All right.
Hi everybody, I'm Shelley Luther. My husband Tim, who's over here, we live right outside of Tom Bean. My daughters are grown and live out of the area, but we have his son that goes to Tom Bean High School and doing a great job there. I am a small business owner, a salon owner. I also was a public school teacher for 13 years. I taught Spanish. And a lot of you know me from opening my business against the COVID shutdown, and that kind of threw me into politics. So I've been doing that for the last 4 years and finally made it one step closer. So I'm really happy to be here and appreciate you guys coming to listen to this. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Tiffany.
There you go, I think you just turned it on.
I'm Tiffany Drake. I'm a registered nurse and a certified case manager. I'm a Grayson County native. I grew up in Denison, Texas, and graduated their ISD in 1985. I attended Grayson County College to get a degree in nursing, and I embarked on a decades-long gratuitous career working in our area hospitals. In 2016, I became certified as a case manager, and I went to work for medically dependent children in the Medicaid program. Today, I work as a consultant for insurance companies. I raised my family in Denison. They've all graduated and moved away. And what else have I done?
That's good, thank you. And that's really just wanted to get to know y'all a little bit better. Let me ask, and I don't know if this applies to us, any of you ever held public office before? And if so, where, when, and what?
No, I was a precinct chair, but aside from that, no.
Okay.
I have not. I did not get into politics till about 2020.
I have not done public service before, but I'm looking very much forward to it.
All right. Well, we're glad that y'all are stepping up and offering us opportunities to choose from. Again, now that I'm a judge, I cannot have an opinion on the races publicly, so that's why they asked me to do this, because I can't support anybody. So I do get to vote. So that's good. All right, let me ask this. Because I'm on the ballot, I didn't say that. So if I didn't vote for me, I don't know if nobody else did, then I wouldn't be reelected. So I think my wife may have voted for me already. Thank you, no problem. We're at a chamber event, and we've got a lot of different professions and folks in here from all walks of life, and just kind of really what steps will you take to support our small businesses in our communities and encourage job creation in the district?
Sure, I guess I'll start off. So the first and foremost thing is supporting a good quality of life. I believe in strong unions, I believe in the quality of life, I believe in healthcare. One of the problems we kind of have, and particularly in Wichita Falls, for example, is we have kind of a stagnant economy where people graduate from college and they move away and they don't come back, right? And what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have a good quality of life back here at home so people will come here and stay here, where the people who are born here stay here as well. And so that's what I really want to focus on.
For me, it's making it easier for business owners, so cutting a lot of the red tape that they have to go through. Also supporting the chamber and making sure that they have what they need to help the businesses. And we need to make sure that the people that are moving here know what businesses are here and that they support those businesses. Shop locally, absolutely. As a small business owner, I need as many people to come into my business as possible. So we need to do whatever we can to make sure that people are shopping in this district and honestly moving here and making sure they're shopping more often. So I'm all for it.
Small business is the heartbeat of Texas. When we see small businesses thrive, we are seeing the culmination of all things Texan. We are seeing that our infrastructure is working. We're seeing our education system is working. We're seeing our government is working when we see small businesses thrive. What I would like to see is more and more locally owned businesses. I travel a lot for my work, and a lot of times I cannot tell when I've left one city and gotten to the next, because they all have the same marquee signs, they have the same logos, it's all the same stores. And I realize that there are many of our goods and services that we will have to get from big business, big corporation. But for our everyday businesses around here, our retail outlets, our entertainment, food, shopping, hospitality, other goods and services, I would like to see more and more locally owned businesses. I would support any measure that came across my desk to support that.
Fantastic. So again, as I said, we're at a chamber event, and this room is made up of bankers, realtors, insurance professionals, medical healthcare professionals. We have broadcasting folks here. I know we have a reporter here, former petroleum marketing person, and many others. And I will tell you that just about every one of them are a member of an association. And those associations come to Austin, and they hire professionals in Austin, government relations, that'll come and want to reach out to you. They often are the voices that you hear on subjects that impact their industry. So my question to you, to each of you, is will you be willing to accept them into your offices and listen to what they have to say on behalf of the folks in this room, their different associations?
Oh, I mean, that's kind of an easy question, of course.
I hope it is, but it's
job.
important. Some people don't want to hear from anybody that's from Austin. They only want to hear from people from here.
Well, I mean, I think it's literally the job of the legislature to listen to everyone, right? I mean, if you don't listen to your constituents, then what are you doing? I think that's literally part of the job. So I don't know how else to answer that question, Sarah.
That's a great answer.
Yes, I do and have already been talking to several lobbyists, but I think on top of that, obviously they can come into my office and I'm going to hear what they have to say, obviously. But if there's someone directly from this district, they get priority over all of the other lobbyists. On top of that, I'm making sure that I'm traveling my district every single day, talking to people face to face so they can ask their questions to me personally, and I think that makes a big difference. I've already stepped into the role. I'm going to events, I'm talking to people like this event, and making sure that I have a good measure of exactly what this district needs.
one of the most exciting things I can think about is collaborating with our local business owners and associations. Anything that would bolster small business, like I just talked about in my homeland, would be priority for me, because that is what I want to do when I'm in Austin and when I'm back here at home, is do things that will benefit our community.
Right. And I got to tell you that if your association has an opinion that's different than yours, you better reach out to whoever's elected and let them know, hey, I normally agree with my association, but on this thing, it's not good for Grayson County, or what have you. There are things, because we're a border state with Oklahoma, so you have an opportunity and responsibility to make sure, if you're a part of an association that you support and you're proud of, that they know that maybe on this issue, you think for Grayson County it might be something different. Anyway, that's beside the point, I guess. All right. So now we're going to go to a lightning round of just short questions. So we kind of get, and so hopefully that we'll get short answers. They should be like one. So, and then we'll just go right down. Y'all are doing great. Okay, where were you born?
I'm sorry?
Where were you born?
Oh, I was born in upstate Rockport, New York, rural area, and I've lived all over the place, but down here in Texas now.
Okay.
I was born in Great Lakes, Illinois. My dad's a Marine veteran of 26 years, visiting with us today. Hoorah. So we lived everywhere. I'm a military brat, but I was born in Great Lakes, Illinois.
Okay.
My parents were in the military as well. They were stationed in New York at the time that I was born. So I was born in Johnson City, New York. When I was 6 weeks old, my mother packed us up and moved back here to Texas, and I've been here since.
Okay. What's your birth order?
I'm sorry?
Your birth order?
My birth order is not.
Firstborn, middleborn, lastborn?
I have one sister, and I'm the older child.
Okay, first child.
My poor dad had 3 daughters. I'm the middle one, obviously.
I was the 4th child in our family. We were all born before birth control was available.
Okay, so what is your favorite color that is not red or blue?
My favorite color?
That is not red or blue.
I'm going to go with gray.
Gray?
Yeah, I mean it's a shade, but
That's good.
This is interesting. My favorite color is actually purple, but I feel like I'll be a great representative for everybody in the district, and so it's a great reflection of who I am.
I love yellow. It makes me think of the sun. I find it uplifting and positive.
That's good. They did an experiment here in the county jail when it used to be on top of the courthouse, and they painted the cells all Pepto-Bismol pink. They thought that would help. It didn't help. Okay, are you an iPhone or Android person?
Android.
Yeah. Yes.
I've had both, but right now I have an Android.
Android.
Great minds all think alike, me too. All right. Okay, this is a little bit easier, Mac or PC? A Mac or PC?
Linux, actually.
A Linux, okay. Vicky said. A Mac or PC?
A PC.
PC, Windows.
Okay, what was your first job?
Grocery store clerk.
My first job was at a pizza place, a local business, and I flipped pizzas.
My first job was in Denison at the local Dairy Queen.
Okay, what was your favorite job?
My favorite job? My current one right now, being a web developer.
I love being a small business owner, and so a lot of people think that I was a hairdresser because I owned a salon. That is not true. I did makeup in the salon, professional makeup.
I have held a great many roles in my years in nursing, and it's very hard to pick one out that I love the most. I have loved working with medically dependent children. I've loved working in acute care. But I guess my favorite job, and it's because it was the most challenging, would have been my years in intensive care.
Okay, good. So, how about your worst job?
My worst job actually was being a pizza delivery person because they did not pay for your gas, and it did a lot of damage to my car.
Tip your drivers, y'all.
This sounds cliche or something, but I really don't remember a job that I didn't like. If I didn't like it, I just got a new job. So I didn't stay there very long if it was something bad. But I make sure that I enjoy everything that I'm doing because I'm always at 100 as far as doing the best.
A frequent prerequisite to working in intensive care units is to first work on a cardiac unit. And I did love cardiac work. It was some of the most interesting work I ever did. But a job is only as good as the people you work with. And I would have to say on that cardiac unit, the team did not function well, and so that would have been my least favorite job, but I went on to intensive care where I loved it.
That's great. Okay, what was the first election you ever voted in?
Barack Obama.
When you say Barack Obama, it throws me off a little bit, sorry. I would have to say Clinton.
It is hard for me to remember the very first election. The very first election I remember was Ronald Reagan. I remember being a child in Denison, and I would walk around our neighborhood, and I knew, even at 12 years old, I knew right then this was something important. I had no way of knowing the full dynamics of why it was important, but I knew it was critical to know about this. And I started my interest in politics from that very day, and I guess I just can't remember who it was. Who would have ran, and I guess it was Clinton, Bill Clinton.
Okay, so this is just a yes/no question. Yes or no, would you vote for vouchers?
No.
Yes.
This is an absolute no.
Okay, and we spent a whole lot of time on that, but I don't know that we have that much time. I want to talk about a couple other things. Specific related to economic development, and specifically the utilization of the enterprise fund and tax abatements for industry recruitment. Are you in favor of those or not in favor of those?
Is this yes, no?
Yeah, no. You can give me your opinion on why, if you think the enterprise fund is helpful. It was passed in 2003. Just since, and I will say in 2005, we had 1,600 employees at Tyson Foods because of an enterprise fund grant, and about 690 employees over at Reese Foods in Denison because of enterprise fund grant. It's still there. The question is, would you continue to support the Texas Enterprise Fund and also any other tax abatements? Or that's not a tax abatement, that's a deal closing fund. Any tax abatements for industry recruitment, such as lowering property taxes.
Stuff like subsidies?
It's whether tax breaks or,
HB 5 replaced the 313.
Yeah, HB 5 replaced the 313, which was not continued. All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in place right now, and for a reason, so I support it, but I'm also willing to hear both sides of the conversation.
Being a small business owner, I'm not a big fan of picking winners and losers as far as companies coming here, but if it's something that's going to help our district, I'm definitely all ears.
I would support any measure that bolsters our local businesses. Yes, I would support that.
And I guess part of that, which is legislation that passed this session, which I think is really important for our community to consider. I'm not saying it's important to support it, and that would be the Texas CHIPS Act, which is it's a semiconductor innovation fund that was passed, and you can't be in Sherman and not understand the impact of those kind of things. Would you be in favor of continuing that fund, so not only to help here maybe with some of our additional plants, but elsewhere across the state?
Yeah, basically, again, it's for the most part the same answer, but I'm more familiar with the CHIPS Act. But I mean, again, it's here for a reason, and I think it's done some good things, but I'm also willing to hear both sides of the conversation.
I'm all for giving Global Wafer whatever they need to make the chips and the semiconductors. We've already been working closely with that. The cement kiln is a big issue with that company, and we are already working to make sure that that kiln is not being built in Dorchester to protect Global Wafer.
Okay, so nobody here likes to pay property taxes. Oh, I'm sorry. I got us excited about the next question.
The Texas CHIPS Act is one of the most exciting things that has happened to us in a long time. This is monies that bring manufacturing back to our area. We used to be a huge manufacturing community here, but I really love seeing what we're seeing with Globotech.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting times we're living in. So talking about everybody pays property taxes here. Nobody likes to pay property taxes here. We often hear people running for office say they want to eliminate property tax. Do you want to eliminate property tax? And if so, would you replace the revenue, and with what would you replace the revenue?
Yeah, so that's a complicated question, because if you eliminate property tax, then you're going to increase our sales tax, right? Because the money's got to come from somewhere. So it's actually literally impossible to completely, eliminate property tax, right? There has to be something there. Now, granted, our property taxes are way too high, but at the same time, we have a big, massive surplus here in Texas. We got a lot of money in the bank, so we're actually pretty good and well off in terms of the surplus that we have. We just need to have our legislatures be willing to fund our government programs. So yes, let's bring the property taxes down, but down to a reasonable value.
We have a lot of funding that's going out, and the actual budget was raised by, 30% or something in the last session, and I could be off by a few numbers. We need to cut spending, and that will be the first way that we can lower property taxes. But you're right, the money has to come from somewhere. I understand that appraisals of houses is a big problem as well. And so there's got to be a balance between appraisals and what the tax rate is. But right now, you don't own your house ever in Texas, ever. You never own your house, because if you can pay it off, and if you don't pay your property taxes, the government takes your house. So we've got to do better, especially for our veterans and people that are on fixed incomes. It's a big problem, and it's top 3 of what we need to fix.
Oh, property taxes. I don't know what's happened to y'all's property tax. Mine just keeps going up. It's painful to pay, but I do think that it is a necessary evil, that this is monies that we need that go into our state funding. When we pay our property taxes, that gives us some skin in the game as far as our funding. We have a little more voice in what's happening. So I would be very cautious about removing property taxes. I think it is wiser to work with our local officials on how we are taxed, how those appraisals are done, and other matters as far as our property tax. That needs to be worked on at a local level.
Well, I would lobby y'all here that y'all don't reinstate the law that the district judge has to appoint the appraisal review board members. Please don't do that. The law went away, and that was good. So, it's so many of these things are complicated that you guys are going to potentially face. It's an amazing opportunity to transform the state in a lot of ways. And one state rep or one senator can move mountains. So I applaud y'all's wanting to serve. One of the things I will tell you from my service is what I love the most, besides the fights on the floor and the policy and all that stuff in Austin, is constituent services. Taking care of people back here when they're having problems dealing with the state. And I get no greater joy than however many years later somebody come up to me and say, your office helped change the direction of my life because y'all listened to me. Y'all heard from me. And so I'm going to ask each of you, and it's a little bit different in the Senate because they have more staffers. You'll find, the House members find they don't have a big budget for a bunch of staff. But, so my question is, what will be your commitment to constituent services in the district?
Yeah, I guess you're asking probably more about like outreach and how people can contact me, things like that. Yeah, so I mean, I know that Mahela Polisa, when she first got elected, had constant town halls, seemingly like every 2-3 weeks, and that would be something that I think is really good. She'd do it virtually if she had to, but just allowing people to come on to Zoom, if it has to be remote, and talk to you and actually ask you, just kind of like a forum here. Individuals like you ask me questions and things like that. Allowing the direct confrontation. I think that's what's really important. I think that's our job as legislatures to our constituents.
Responding to constituents is my number one priority as far as how my office is run. Anybody that I interview or talking to about those positions, which I'm not really allowed to hire yet, obviously, but I want to know how important it is for you to make sure that we get back to the people that are contacting us. It's number one. And I'll tell you, as a teacher in a previous life, I was the teacher that before school even started, I sent out an email saying, here's how you get a hold of me, here's what we're going to be doing in class. And it wasn't when your child was in trouble, that wasn't the first time that we had a communication. I think communication is the number one factor that will make or break somebody in their position, and I plan on exceeding your expectations in that matter.
I will likely just continue what I've always done in my work now. I answer all emails, I return all phone calls, and I love Dale's idea about Zoom calls. I would always be readily available.
Well, when I first got elected, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Zoom. Life was so much easier because we had to talk to people on the phone or write letters, so we did have email. It's great to meet each of y'all and hear from y'all. I think we have just a couple of minutes left. So I'm going to give each of you the opportunity just to share what's your number one priority if you're elected to the office you're seeking.
Oh boy, number one, I have to pick one?
Yeah, number one, just so if we could do top three, but we'd be here till tomorrow.
All right, well, it's going to tie between healthcare and supporting the public education.
The number one thing that I'm working on right now, and I've already worked with several of the elected officials in here, Art Arthur, Bruce Dawsey, even Reggie, Drew helped, Deion Sanders. We've all come together on this cement kiln. Did I say something funny?
No.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Deion Sanders.
Oh, I'm sorry, Deion.
It's Deion Starnes.
Sorry, Deion. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, good. I was at least acknowledging you. Okay, so anyway, we're working really hard against this cement kiln, and we know that Texas, with all the growth, we need cement. We get it. We just want them to go somewhere else because that's going to affect one of our businesses here that has a lot of importance, and we need to make sure that we protect it.
This is the easiest question I've received today. My number one priority and my passion is public education. I will vote against school vouchers. This is the hill that I will die on. This vote is not for sale, and that is what I will work for.
All right, great. Let's give them an applause. You might have further questions, and I bet they'd hang around to visit with you if you have any specific questions that we didn't cover. Y'all did great. Thank y'all very much.
I appreciate all of you guys so much. I know it's hard to sit in the hot seat sometimes, but I just want to swing back around.